We're coming off hot off a pay-per-view, which is actually one of my favorite pay-per-views. Not my favorite time of the year. I prefer my Hell in the Cells around Halloween time. But whatever, we'll take it in June. We'll take it in June. That's when Mick Foley went plunging off the cage in June. So it's not like there's not precedent. But yes, Hell in the Cell.
Say Hell in the Cell.
Hell in the Cell. Boom. Well, we can do it Vince McMahon style and do Hell in a Cell.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, this was actually. Look, here's my first take right out of the gate, because we're going to tell you right here, the main event to this pay-per-view was Cody Rhodes versus Seth freaking Rollins. So Cody Rhodes is basically 2 months back into the company, and he's already headlining this pay-per-view. There's tons of momentum already with Cody, and I feel like WWE is riding this momentum and leaning a little bit more into this real. Cody presents himself as an actual athlete. He's not the sports entertainer. He's the one that gets slapped on the wrist all the time for calling it, pro wrestling. But he treats it like he is an athlete. And I feel like they're leaning into that with him, and they're not shying away from that. And, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but, I mean, going into this, I feel like Cody sold some tickets.
I mean, he's definitely hot.
But Cody is going from actually being some kind of mid-carder in AEW to the main event guy in WWE. And it's quite impressive, if you ask me, how he can catapult himself from actually being not relevant in another promotion now to being totally relevant here.
And leaving the WWE because he was not feeling relevant because he was Stardust, who... I was a fan of Stardust. I was cool with Stardust and Goldust, but he wanted to be actually Cody Rhodes. And look, he left and he stood. There he goes, alone with his morals. He's like, I'm not going to turn heel. He's telling the AEW crowd, I am not going to turn heel. Not only am I not going to turn heel, I'm going to leave and I'm going to go to WrestleMania and I'm going to get a Road Warrior pop and then I'm going to be the main event, doing exactly what I'm doing right now. And he did it. And he literally did it. And we'll get into his match because that match was the show. A lot of big things happened. But he wasn't the only one on there. He was just there selling the tickets, if you will, just like Daddy taught him. The son of a plumber.
Can I just say this as an overall take on the Hell in the Cell real quick? Because this is just my overall take. I feel like they had two really good matches and then a bunch of other stuff like sandwiched in the middle.
This was a main event sandwich. That is a good way to put it because...
It was like two really good, nice, big slices of bread, beautiful bread, with some sort of good dressing on it. And then inside it was just like lettuce.
Yeah. Or the meats that you're not too sure about and it's just like, oh, that kind of crumbled up a little bit. So,
maybe a little bit of overcooked chicken.
You might act very accurate because WWE started this a couple years ago with Seth freaking Rollins, actually, when he beat Brock Lesnar in the curtain jerk for WrestleMania. I feel like they are doing this a lot, that they're having world title matches as the curtain jerk. And that was the curtain jerk in this match. Bianca Belair versus Asuka versus Becky Lynch. Big time Bex, which... Hats off to Big Time Bex. We went over this on the SummerSlam preview. That was a botch. Make no mistake. That was a botch. They're like, screw it. We're going to turn her heel. She's a great heel. And it's working really well. And Asuka is phenomenal. Asuka just has to come out there and be Asuka, and it just works so well. And Bianca Belair is perfect as the champion, right? She is, like we were talking about earlier, she's an elite athlete. And so to start off with this, I was like, wow, they literally walked into the bar and they unzipped their zipper and they're like, let's do this.
They did actually. It was kind of a good show off.
Yeah.
They ripped the shirt off right
out of the gate.
Yeah.
Because I knew that these women were going to go, and they delivered hands. And I wasn't sure how the finish was going to go, but I was pretty comfortable. It's kind of like, what the finish is going to be, but I still want to suspend my belief. And it didn't feel right that they were going to take the belt off Bianca, even though there's always a slim chance that they can throw it on Asuka, but I didn't feel like they were going to put it back on Becky, and they delivered it really well. I mean, this match went 20 minutes, and Bianca Belair, she went over, and it was a great match.
But you could actually see in the match, I thought that Becky was actually very good at guiding Bianca all the way through.
Yeah.
Because Bianca is still, in my eyes, actually, she's still a talent who has a lot to learn in the ring.
Oh, yeah. She has the it factor. She has the energy. She has that. She's going to sell merch. Kids are going to cheer for her. People are going to dig her. Adults are going to dig her too. She has that. But you're absolutely right. There is this thing that's got to be turned. That dial has to be turned where all of a sudden now you're feeling, because we know she can perform. We know she's a super athlete, but can she make me feel something? As MJF put it in his promo, I want to make you feel something. And Becky already has that. Becky was kind of thrust into, when she got herself over, she makes you feel something. And Asuka in a way did it too. The Asuka that had the 500-day plus winning streak in NXT is no more. Asuka's this new character. You see Asuka, and she's like a human GIF. Like when she comes out here, everything she does, and just like she's going to go out there and prance around and dance around, and she's going to thump Becky in the nose, and it's going to get over. And it's just, even when she was a heel with, it just feels like it's hard to not like Asuka. So this was a great match with a great performance. And Nick, I think you're right. I think they were guiding her through, and those are two of the best to help guide her through that, especially Asuka coming out of NXT just like Bianca did.
But I think one thing where Bianca really has to up her game, she has to be a little bit more serious. She looks like sometimes a girl who's just playing around smiling.
Yeah.
And her mic skills, they have to improve a lot.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's a very, to work the stick is a skill, and a lot of the promo class. And I think a lot of the female talent, which I think female wrestling has the potential to overtake men's wrestling in the public's eye. I think they're going to elevate to that much. But my issue with a lot of the promos is they make it feel, I don't want it to feel catty. I don't want it to feel like a reality show. I want you to feel like a character. I want you to make me believe that you're the toughest, quickest, fastest, bestest, and make that come through your words without actually always every time saying those words, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I think we'd do that. But you're right, and she's so over right now, and everybody likes her, and she got screwed. She got screwed on that SummerSlam, and that swell of support for her kind of buoyed her up to like, okay, she's going to stay a babyface. Because I think she could have a heel turn, and she could have that same thing that Sasha Banks has right now, where now Sasha Banks is a heel because I'll walk out on this company. I don't give a damn. I'm in the freaking Mandalorian. She'll do that in the ring, and she'll walk out of the ring. And Bianca could elevate her game to that once, just seasoning, right? It just needs a little bit.
I feel like that's a ways away. I think she's just such a super uber babyface right now.
Yeah.
And like you said, she's going to be a merch machine. Little girls are going to look up to her. She looks like a superhero.
Yeah.
Put her in a Marvel movie.
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
She could sell that for sure. But yeah, I agree with Nicolai. I think she's still young. She's still like kind of growing as a performer, but like as an athlete, she's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Probably the best in the...
She's actually, if you ask me, she's uncomparable to anyone other on the roster at the moment.
Yeah, she's a powerhouse too. I mean, for her to be as agile as she is with like doing the flips and the way she does it, but then she'll just like dead weight, vertical suplex somebody and then hold them up, and she does a lot of powerhouse moves, and it's just like, wow, she's the real deal. She's the one that if she walks around to other sporting events and they stand next to her, there's going to be other athletes from other sports that are going to want to take a picture with her because they're like, wow, yeah, she's one of us.
But actually, one thing that I really loved in the match was when she was walking around with I can't remember which one. I think it was actually Becky when she was walking around with her like she was a cheerleader or something like that before suplexing her.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. She has these feats of strength that are like legit feats of strength, and you're like, wow. So hats off to her. I'm curious where they're gonna go with this, but it was the right call. It was the right call. You're not gonna take the belt off Bianca after you had the feel good story of getting the belt back on her after you kind of screwed her, and I think it's working out really. And I like Becky taking a break from the belt, because let's face it, big time Bex doesn't necessarily need the belt right now. She can sell tickets and you'll want to see her even if she doesn't have the belt. Now, come around WrestleMania, that's when you may have to reconfigure who has the belt, but for right now, I'm okay with this. But eventually someone like Becky's going to have the belt, because I'm more of the school, the Ric Flair school, where the heel has the belt and you have all your favorites trying to get their belt, but they're not going to get it, rather than the Hulk Hogan one where just like, or Jerry the King Lawler, I'm just going to keep beating you, these beasts, and no one ever really stands a chance. But I think right now, and Mario, I'll start with you. Like, who would you even consider the top female in WWE right now?
I mean, I don't know. They've got really good pool of lady talent for sure.
They really do.
Like you said, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely Bianca because she's getting the biggest push. But I mean, I feel somebody like Liv Morgan could be huge, like way bigger than she is now. You know, she's got such a great look and she can work, and I just think she looks awesome on print and then on a T-shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Asuka at any point could be the champ. I feel she's always believable champ. It's hard to say. It's hard to say who the top is over there. You know, as opposed to like, you know, in AEW, we know. I feel like their female talent is a little bit it's limited, right? They don't have the same range over here. But I don't really know.
And it's a shame. You know, friend of the show, Thunder Rosa, she's not getting TV time. There's a big rumor going around. She's not happy about that, and they need to fix that, because they can. Because you put if they just even had three of these women that could actually go with Thunder Rosa, can you imagine some of the matches that she would be able to have? But I mean, they got Britt, you know, and they got Ruby, and they're building up. Like, you know, they're building up Jade. She's still young, but WWE's got a fortune of talent. I mean, I personally think it's still Charlotte Flair, just for pedigree and just that star factor. Nick, who would you bill as the top female talent in WWE right now?
I'm all the way. I totally agree with you. You haven't seen Charlotte Flair do a bad performance.
No.
I can't remember when the last time she did. She is so what can you say, phenomenal in the ring.
And the thing about her,
she can sell anything.
I think when she finally leaned into, remember Mario, I think this might have been the WrestleMania we went to, when they were really trying to push her as a babyface, because Ric Flair was having one of his many renaissance. So they're like, oh, let's push her as a baby. But then the crowd didn't get into it. And I feel like once she got into like, screw it, I'm Charlotte Flair, I'm going to be better than my dad even. And she started leaning into that. Now it feels like it's real. And that's what made her dad so well. You know, he was Ric Flair inside the ring, outside the ring. And now I feel like Charlotte's leaning into that. And that's why I feel like she's still top of the game. And JJ, where's Bayley?
We need Bayley back, yes.
I thought Bayley was going to lean into this. Ding dong, hello. I thought she was going to lean into that. I didn't even think that was going to be get over, but somehow that get over, because I wanted heel Bayley, but I wanted her to still do everything the same way, but as a heel, you know, with the wacky waving inflatable hand tube people. I wanted them to just have frowny faces. I just wanted them to be angry. I wanted the heel version of that. But yeah, I thought for sure there's supposedly a big rush on tickets that sold for Hell in the Cell, because rumors of Bayley coming back and Bray Wyatt coming back, and that was like at the last second. Who spread those rumors? But tickets sold because of that. Because, you know, the undercooked chicken, as Nick put it, was not enough for this whole card. But we'll start going through some of these matches. But yeah, Bianca went over about a 20-minute match. Great opening match. Next up, and I'm really curious of what your guys' feeling on this. Bobby Lashley went over on Omos and MVP by submission with the hurt lock on MVP. That was about a 9-minute match. I'm okay with I was okay with the swerve. You know, I love MVP as a manager. I think he's doing really well as a manager. I think they need to keep growing his faction, not dismantling his faction. And so I like that he turned on Bobby Lashley and he went with Omos. But I was okay with this match. But they're really trying to elevate Bobby back into the title picture because he was in the title picture. He went over on Brock Lesnar, and now he's kind of like, they need to do something with him fast. So I don't know how long this can go. What did you guys feel about this match, though?
Actually, I think it was a good build for Bobby Lashley that they're going to elevate him again because they need a person like Bobby Lashley in the title picture.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very limited who they have instead because of the injuries that's going around at the moment. So I really think that Bobby Lashley is the go-to guy besides Drew McIntyre, actually. Those two, I think it's the only ones that could pose a threat to the head of the table.
Yeah, no, get us started on Drew. I think Drew needs a complete repackaging.
Are they turning Bobby Lashley babyface?
Yeah, he's pretty much a babyface again. So he's back to it with his hurt lock, and I think with MVP turning on, we're kind of locked in there. Now it's going to be really curious, right? Because now we only have one undisputed Universal World Heavyweight Champion. There's only one belt, so there's only one spot. Everybody's leaning into Cody, you know, and we'll get into why that might not be for a little bit while. So who is going to challenge the Tribal Chief before that? It's got to be Bobby Lashley. He grabbed one of the cosplay belts and he held it up, and they really leaned into that. Like, oh, he's getting that looks right.
Yeah, and people are really getting into him. His new gimmick as the Almighty, the only challenger for the belt that Roman.
Yeah, I agree. I personally, I liked it. The people are getting behind him, but he's terrible on the mic, and you run the risk of when MVP had him, you knew he was great because MVP's great on the mic, and I just like that feeling. I liked, you know, the Hurt Business. I liked that they felt like the Horsemen, and they had all the belts, and they all dressed up in the nice suits. I again, and that could be the old school 80s in me, that I was just like, oh, this is cool. This feels like the Horseman. He feels like Ric Flair, and he's the top of the food chain. So I don't know, they really messed up the Hurt Business by breaking them up and then pretending they weren't together, and then they are, then they're not, you know, and they're still kind of doing it. Cedric Alexander came out, and now he might be back with Bobby Lashley, but my only concern with Bobby Lashley is he's never really going to be good on the mic, but maybe he's got to find it. Look how terrible the biggest draw in the business right now, Brock Lesnar. Look how terrible he was on the mic. But now Cowboy Brock, everybody loves Cowboy Brock. Yeah. I was like, this is like he all of a sudden decided he wanted to go out there and have fun. Now he doesn't need Paul Heyman because he goes out there just with his cowboy hat and like he's having a good time. And now it's great. So maybe Bobby Lashley needs to find that. I don't know, Mario. You watched the Cowboy Brock stuff, right?
Yeah, I've been following it.
Yeah, Cowboy Brock. I mean, I don't know where he is right now, but I liked when he leaned into like, screw it, I'm just gonna go out there and have fun. Brock Lesnar does not have to talk about being a badass. Brock Lesnar is a badass. Brock Lesnar is legit, as legit comes. He doesn't have to say it. So I love that Brock Lesnar is coming out there and riding an invisible horse, knowing that he can drop you on your head.
But I actually think that if they built Bobby right towards another title shot, actually, he could pose that imposing threat to Roman Reigns because of his physique alone.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. He's got all the tools to be the champion. He was great in the champ. They're going to need to repair having him as the, he's going to need a mouthpiece. That's what in this business, all these wrestlers back in the 80s, back in our day when we watched it, what was so great is you had the Heenan family and you had the Hart Foundation. You had all these guys because you had all these great athletes that weren't very good on the mic. and then you let the manager talk to him. Not everybody can be Roddy Piper or MJF, so it's something that I think they can definitely work on with him. Next up, this is the opposite of what we're going to talk about, because this is one of the best guys on the mic right now in WWE. Kevin Owens, KO, defeated Ezekiel, not Elias. Ezekiel by pinfall 9 minutes, which was a solid match, and I liked Elias. I was ready for WWE stands for Walk with Elias. I liked when he called people scumbags for no reason. It was always funny. This gimmick, which I didn't think was going to work, and I didn't even know it was something that exists, is working for me. I don't know. Is it working for you guys? Like, no, I'm not this person. Like, it's literally the Clark Kent versus Superman. It's like, of course you're this person. You look exactly like him. No, I'm his younger brother.
I feel like WWE pushes their angles till they work.
Yeah.
Like they whether it works or not, they're going to do it till it works. I mean, just think about how Roman got to where he is, right? It took a long time for us to like him.
Oh, wow. No, it took forever. It literally took Roman saying, all right, I'm coming back, but I'm turning heel, because Vince wasn't ready to pull the trigger on it. And then Roman left him no choice, and now there's no turning back. Now Roman finally is fulfilling his destiny, because he is the head of the table, the tribal chief. There's no doubt about it that he's the number one guy inside the ring and in the locker room. He just has that vibe. You know that he is the number one guy. So seeing Kevin Owens go over on Ezekiel, and then we watched it on Raw, and it really didn't hurt him. I just like that it's to the point where, again, we were just talking about Weekend at Bernie's. We were just talking about Weekend at Bernie's, and remember when the Hitman just was like, I swear I killed him. I'm going to go back. I'm going to kill him again. I swear I killed him. Kevin Owens is beating the crap out of Ezekiel, and he's like, now admit it. You're Elias. No, I'm Ezekiel. And he's like, damn it. Like, no matter what he does, he can't get him to admit that he's Ezekiel. I mean, that he's Elias. And I don't know. I think it's really funny. And Kevin Owens, obviously, he can go, and it was a great match. I mean, they went 10 minutes, and Kevin Owens went over.
I just hope that they shot some video of Elias with the beard on.
Yeah.
And they've got that in the vault to drop as part of this angle at somewhere.
They better. I was thinking about that, because they really need to do, like, some backstage vignette, like on the Titantron. Like, no, see, look, my brother, he's live. He's right there in the locker room. And it's just like, hey, Kevin, I'm back here in the locker room. I'm Elias. And then have Kevin Owens going running back and trying to find him, and then he can't find him. I mean, there's so much they can do about this. Nick, how are you feeling about this Ezekiel angle?
Well, I love it, because it's such great fun to see. Kevin Owens he can sell everything. He could actually sell sand from Sahara if he wanted to.
Yeah,
actually. So, but I think actually they should put a little bit extra spice on that gimmick. They could have made Ezekiel pull out a guitar and hit Kevin Owens with it, like building a little bit of clues that he could maybe be Elias after all.
I like that. That's a great idea. I think that would work really well. Just little small things, right? Yeah. Just have him like sing, like pretend he's about to sing a song, or he knows about song. He's like, you remind me of a song, and then Kevin Owens is like, why do you know so much about music? Because you're Elias.
Or maybe he walks out with a guitar case and he opens up and it's like a hockey stick or something.
But yeah, I think it was just, again, and now I think they need to do something a little bit more to make this elevated, to make it not feel like it's just a premium live event, right? We don't call them pay-per-views always, even though you got to pay for the app. It's a premium live. This felt like it could have been on Raw, even though it was a great match. Everybody involved, and they actually they had a rematch, or they're setting up a rematch, so they might need to up it a little bit to just make it feel like it's just not a TV match. But it was a good match, no qualms. But Kevin Owens beat Ezekiel, but clean pinfall. Next match, we had the Judgment Day. Edge, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley went over on the new club. Well, I don't know, they didn't call them the club, but they had AJ Styles, Finn Bálor, and Liv Morgan. And that was about a 16-minute match. And Nick, what do you think of this match here for the Judgment Day? We'll get into, because I want to segue into what this turned into, but just let's talk about the match first. Well,
it was. I think it was actually the overboiled chicken for me.
Yeah, you weren't.
I didn't really like it, because I don't really I can't really buy into that Judgment Day while they're. I don't really think that WWE have made them relevant.
Yeah.
They have seen that in other wrestling companies that factions is the new black. So they think, well, we have to do something like that, but please give it relevance.
Yeah.
Give it meaning to me. So it was an okay match. AJ Styles is always great in the ring.
I like the club reunion, and you know, Corey Graves dropped it as just like a club, if you will, and I like Liv Morgan has that I'm over, but even though the office doesn't realize it and I'm not getting pushed properly, I'm over. So I thought, oh, this is going to be cool. They're going to lean into AJ Styles and Finn Balor, both leaders of the Bullet Club at different times. So it should and then JJ, I agree. I mean, she would have been perfect for the Bullet Club. This would have got her way over, and just like this could have been AJ getting the club back together, which they started to do with the Good Brothers before they, got rid of the Good Brothers in this. So I thought they were going to lean into this, but then fast forward to Monday Night Raw, and Nick, I think somebody got the memo that you're talking about, and the rumor was that Edge did not want to do any supernatural elements to Judgment Day, that they started leaning to, let's make it like something Undertaker-ish, and he didn't want to do it. So next thing you know, we're going to have a new member of Judgment Day. And Finn Balor, who got beat by Judgment Day, comes out and he's like, I'm going to be the new member. And then Damian Priest is like, okay, and we need to get rid of some dead weight. And then they turned on Edge. Now the new leader of the Judgment Day is Finn Balor. So you got Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley, and Edge is out. And I don't know what they're going to do with that. And that's kind of like summed up with the match. Like, this could be something really good, but I feel like they're making it up as they go along.
I can't see where they want to go with this. It looks like a very rushed decision to do that kind of turn.
Yeah. Here's what I've liked. If you're, and sometimes Nick, sometimes we book the territory. Mario, you've seen Finn Balor live, and we know the demon is over. Here's what I would have liked to see. Reunite the club. Like JJ said, Liv is full-time Bullet Club member. You can't call it Bullet Club. Just call it Club 2.0, whatever. But then all of a sudden the demon comes out. But the demon is part of Judgment Day. And make it seem like literally Finn Balor has a split personality where the demon is now a heel as part of the Judgment Day. But Finn Balor is that, and then AJ be like, dude, what are you doing? We know that's you. And like they can play a little bit what they're doing with these, because obviously I think the demon is a perfect fit for Judgment Day. But again, I feel like this is all over the place, and it wasn't a surprise. They're like, we have a new member, and here he is. And then Finn Balor music played. There was no suspense to it at all. Mario, have you seen any of the Judgment Day stuff on Raw?
Yeah, I mean, I was watching some of it. I'm not a big fan of that gimmick. Honestly, I feel like Edge is I'm not compelled by Edge anymore. I don't know. I know he's a legend and everything like that, but I feel like
no,
I'm not into Edge anymore.
No, I agree. I feel like he's struggling. I feel like the crowd turned on him a little bit, and that's why for his WrestleMania match with Roman, they put Bryan in there, and then he was definitely like a heel, and then they leaned into heel Edge, but now they're just doing something different. It was better than what they were doing. I was just happy that he cut his hair, because I feel like that makes him look younger. That's the whole Chris Jericho thing. When he cuts his hair, he looks like 10 years younger.
I feel like, I don't know if this is a thing or if this is just in my head, but I feel like he's just going over the top with his facials sometimes.
He wants to be a GIF,
and it just catches. It's just like, it just seems unrealistic.
Yeah, and they did that now, right? When Finn broke off that piece of that chair, and he was like, "Let's put a smile on your face," and he was leaning into his facials. I was like, yeah, I think he trolls Giphy, and he goes in there. He's like, man, I'm a lot of gifts. Let me see other gifts that I can be. But yeah, that was but it went long, and it's probably. I love Rhea Ripley now. I'm happy with her in Judgment Day. Damian Priest needed to do something, because he was not working with how he was, the Archer of infamy. And that's what anything, Nick, right? I mean, growing up, we were just talking about Adam Bomb. Like, you got to tell me, like, what is your gimmick? Like, what is an archer of infamy? Like, do you shoot arrows that are going to turn people bad? Like, what is that gimmick? Are you a literal archer? Like, if this is the 80s, if you were the archer of infamy, they're going to cut a bunch of vignettes and you're going to have to hit a bullseye every time. These gimmicks aren't really gimmicks. And I feel like they're struggling with that because they don't want to have heels and baby faces anymore. But look, as long as there's going to be people like Miz and MJF around, you're going to have people that are heels, and you're going to need people that are going to have to be their foes.
It's actually sometimes in wrestling, I think it's like everyone wants to be a heel, but nobody wants to be a babyface anymore.
Oh man, no, you're preaching to the choir on that, because I said I am tired of all the badasses in pro wrestling. You know, I'm sorry, I want if you want the badasses, you know, we see, and I'm not saying these. You might be a legitimate badass in for real. You know, not as your character, but we need people like the Honky Tonk Man to make wrestling. We need these gimmicks. We need this stuff to make you like a memorable. Not everybody's. Look, you can still be a chicken shit heel and know how to fight, but you don't have to be a badass. Ric Flair is never known as a badass, and people are still making rap songs about him, you know, and he's in his 70s because he was always the chicken shit heel, and no matter how many times you beat him, he was still Ric Flair. Like, we need people that are not badasses, and that's why I was, you know, NXT, I struggle with that, you know, NXT 2.0 especially, because everybody's a badass, and it's just like, the girls are going to be catty to each other, and the guys are going to be badasses. No, not everybody's a badass. That's why the Road Warriors got the Road Warrior pop, because there was only one. But we also needed other teams like the Midnight Express that weren't badasses, but they still found a way to get the job done, and they were elite wrestlers. We just need more of that.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a small rant.
Actually, they have one in NXT if they elevate him right. I think Braun Breaker, they could really make him a good babyface.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And now Braun Breaker, that's somebody that you elevate as a badass, right? Because he has the lineage of his because his father and uncle were badasses, right? They were powerhouses, and that makes sense. We just need some people to be a little bit lean more into their characters. Like, I like Cameron Grimes in NXT because, you know, he's a to the moon guy and he still knows how to fight, but when he's out there, he's still partying when he's not out there. That's when you start to elevate. And it doesn't always have to be comical, but it has to have that quirkiness that you can only find in pro wrestling. So Damian Priest really suffered from that. I mean, I think it's okay that now he's just like whatever he is as part of the Judgment Day, that I've seen the light and it's dark. Okay, cool. You're a dark guy. That at least I can file that away and I know where to put my cheers.
I don't know, man. I liked his indie name better. They should have went with it. Damian Priest is just like, it's a weird contradiction of a name.
It's
What
was
like,
his?
He's the devil, but he's also holy.
Yes.
Something. But he was just like Punisher Rodriguez or something.
Oh, Punisher Martinez.
Martinez.
That's a great name. Like, why he should have just stayed with that.
Yeah, but just Punisher.
Yeah, WWE, but they want to own the name, so they're going to come up with a name. Very, very rarely they're going to not own the name. So, but somebody stop. They should have stopped with Dolph. That name. I mean, Dolph Ziggler was one of the, but no one ever took that name. I think having that name hurt him more than it helped him. He could have just went to Zig, something, but come on, man. But anyway, that's small rant. I don't want to go down that road. But anyway, yeah, Judgment Day, they went over on the new Bullet Club, and then the Bullet Club reunion was over as fast as it started because now Finn is part of the Judgment Day, and we don't know where AJ and Liv stand with that. But they really need to stop screwing up with Liv Morgan because that's a top star, and they blew it with her. They need to not, and she's still managing to stay over. She's surviving, weathering all these storms and still staying over. Speaking of Dolph Ziggler, because that's what Dolph did for so many years. No matter what stupid position they put him in, he found a way to stay over, and Liv's doing it. But man, they need to elevate her really quick. But
the best way, actually, if it's totally WWE style, Edge will join AJ and Liv
Yeah, they're probably going to flip-flop it right now.
Yeah.
Better best friends, better enemies, or whatever they want to call. Which but now it's going to feel a little bit like hodgepodge. But I don't know, man. I think Rhea Ripley should be the leader of the crew, and they should have just kept Finn out of there, and she could have recruited somebody else. Because this is the best. This is the most I've been intrigued by Rhea Ripley. You know, and obviously she's another one. She's an elite athlete, and she has a look. She has a great look, and now this really elevated her. But anyway, that one went 16 minutes. Nick, I'm going to have to rely on you for the next one because just out of habit, I always end up tuning out here. Madcap Moss versus Happy Corbin, and Madcap Moss went over, and this was a no-holds-barred match, 12 minutes. How was this match? This one this was a bathroom break for me, unfortunately, and I say this as Happy Corbin, besides down on his luck, Corbin is the best Corbin we've ever got. I just still can't wrap my head around what Madcap Moss is. So, how was this match?
I'm still struggling as you doing as well with Madcap, but I really think that this match actually did him some good, because actually we got a Madcap with a little bit more edge than we have seen until now, because Corbin is doing Madcap so much good with his gimmick.
Yeah.
He's really selling this match, but we saw a little bit more vicious side of Madcap in this match.
Got it.
And
okay. And he has
I loved it.
He has a different gear too. Like he's not doing the suspenders anymore.
Yeah, and that's really, really good.
Got it.
Because it made him look like an older version of a Chippendale.
Yeah, that was always strange, and the weird dad jokes that weren't as funny it wasn't as over as it could have been. I mean, at least it was colorful, and he leaned into it. And obviously, he's another one, right? He's an elite athlete, but man, they just got to stop watching reality shows and go back and just watch old tapes. Just go watch YouTube and watch old wrestling and lean in and find somebody that worked back then and lean into that and tell the writers to suck it, for lack of a better term. But I end up.
I think actually maybe we should apply for a writing job there.
Yeah,
we could probably help them a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I was close to being on the writers team, and it was super close. And this was back in 2010. I don't remember why I didn't get the nod, but it is a revolving door, and it's Mario. Did you interview there as well?
No, they never called me.
No,
I applied for a few things, but no, I never got an interview. You interviewed for writer?
I did. Yeah.
How was that?
It's intimidating as you expect, and you feel the pressure, and you see him like sizing you up, because obviously it's a very visual medium, you know, and it was on a video call, and you're just staring at you, and it feels like you're auditioning, right? Basically, even though you're not going to be on-air talent, but you're going to have to deal with a lot of very powerful personalities, and so it was a little bit intimidating in that sense. But I mean, being in the industry, I was kind of okay with it. And he was just like, and he's just like had the awkward pauses in there. I mean, you got everything. And I was like, oh man, the suspense was rough, you know. And he's like,
that was a while ago. That's before video calls were normal, so it's probably even more intimidating. It's just like a weird sci-fi futuristic job interview.
Yeah, exactly. It was a lot worse. It was the Paul Reiser in Alien feel. It was just like, and you know, and in typical Hollywood fashion, he didn't say no. He's like, yeah, well, just keep us in mind, and we'll call you in a few years. I was like, damn. And
keep us in mind.
Yeah, keep us in mind. I was like, dude, I've been on my mind since 1983. The next match, we had Mr. McMahon's personal protege, Theory. They dropped Austin. They got rid of Austin. Now it's just Theory, the master of the...
He's just Theory now? Which I kind of like that as a name, honestly. But
yeah, I was actually surprised they let him keep Austin. Obviously, they had an Austin, so I'm surprised they let it keep it. It was me, Austin. It was me all along. But yeah, Theory, he went over on the returning Mustafa Ali, which I did not see that coming because he was having real life contract disputes. But Theory, Vince loves Theory, man. Vince got a boner for Theory. He went over clean.
Big one.
Yep. So for the U.S. Championship, 10-minute match. But I was not a Theory guy, because to me, he just reminded me too much of the Thunderdome era, an era that we all want to forget. He kind of came in as one of the Los Lotharios, and then he was one of Seth's acolytes, and they just kept flip-flopping him, and now all of a sudden he's been anointed as the next John Cena, and Vince is really putting everything into him. And he won me over at WrestleMania for his bump, that stunner bump. I was just like, okay, I mean, clearly he can work, and at least he is a character. He's saying he's doing what I'm saying. Not everybody's got to be a badass, and he's just going out there, taking his selfies and winning. So I was okay with this. Nick, how did you feel about this match?
Yeah, actually, it went exactly the way I expected this match to went, because it was an onslaught of Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, and it was
totally. It was a payback from Vince, so saying, "I'm the guy in charge."
Yeah. And you know what? And they really leaned into, they wanted Theory to get booed because Mustafa Ali was announced as Chicago's own, right? So he's the hometown guy, so they wanted him to get that pop. And I think he already was a little bit of a internet darling, just for the simple fact is everyone knew that he was stuck in a contract dispute, and he was doing the MJF, fire me, free Ali. So everybody was surprised to see him back. But there was really, again, this could have been a Monday Night Raw match. This really didn't push. But, let's get to that other juicy slice of bread that we got to get to.
Oh, yes.
Cody Rhodes goes over on Seth freaking Rollins in a 25-minute match, which he cleared the trilogy. He went over 3 times in a row. But here's the big thing. The big news coming out of this was they didn't even think Cody was going to have this match because the rumor was he was injured, and he's like, no, I'm not really injured, but I did tear my pec. But then the the meat tore completely from the bone. And when he took off that ring jacket after his this is Dusty's kid, because he sold that, and obviously he didn't have to sell it much because it was legitimate, because the whole left side of his body was completely purple, and you saw that his arm was swollen, and it's just like, he's really going to work this match like this? And it got mainstream attention. There's doctors making YouTube videos on if Cody should have worked and if it was possible for him to work, and he still put on a freaking fantastic match with basically a torn pec.
Yeah, it was amazing to watch, actually.
This performance was unreal.
Really perfect build-up, actually. Everyone was buying into it. At first, everyone thought, Cody will take this for sure. But with the torn pec and this, I was actually a little bit in doubt if they were going to give this to Seth freaking Rollins.
I thought they were gonna. I thought I was just like, okay, well, Cody got the WrestleMania match. He got the Backlash match. I guess they're going to let Seth take one. So I really was surprised. But, Mario, I don't know if you saw, they leaned into that. They leaned into the AEW angle because they got the sledgehammer back. And, when Cody hit the sledgehammer against the throne, and they leaned into that, and they played with the Triple H callbacks and then the mind games because he hit him with the pedigree. And then Seth Rollins comes out in the Dusty Rhodes polka dots, the 1989s, Sweet Sapphire, if you will. He had the polka dots on, and it's just like everything about this was so good. And what makes a great babyface is freaking sympathy, right? That is the Ricky Morton babyface. You need to have sympathy. And everybody had it as soon as Cody took off his coat, because they're like, my God, what the hell happened to your freaking chest? It was so purple.
It was so good. Actually, it was what everyone loves to say. It was a picture-perfect example of how to get people over.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Mike said, and now, obviously, he's going to take a break, and the break is probably going to benefit him because now he's going out on a high note. Everybody's going to remember this gutsy performance that has doctors going to YouTube and saying how this is possible. That's that mainstream appeal. And, yeah, I mean, it's just going to work, and now he can go. And And then the next night on Raw, they're like, I'm getting that Money in the Bank, and he's gunning for Roman. And then Seth comes out and in a sincere moment and shakes his hand and is like, you're great, I respect you. But then obviously he jumped him and he hit him with the hammer to. I don't know how much. I don't know, Mari, if you heard how much time Cody's going to be out.
It's like a few months.
Yeah,
it's going to be a while, and I mean, I'm sure that they'll set up some kind of a strategic comeback. I mean, they might hold him till Royal Rumble.
They could, and he'll get a Road Warrior pop if that's when he does return. But it's just, again, the Mike saying it, in the chat here, the tribute is just so good because it touches on the good parts of Triple H and the good parts of Dusty Rhodes, and he's gonna get another special pop. And this is the guy that AEW fans were turning on. And he was literally doing the same.
Why were we booing him?
Yeah, I never did, because I was like, man, he's cutting some killer promos, and he dropped somewhat of a pipe bomb on Tony Khan for bad contract negotiations before MJF did. Remember, he's like, it's not the contract I wanted, and I was like, oh, I can't believe they let him say it, but that must mean he signed it, and then he leaves.
Yeah, he was acting squirrely there for a while. Remember when he took off his boots in the ring and was acting like he was about to retire?
Yeah, like he was going to retire, and then literally to tell the fans, I'm not turning heel. Stop booing me. I'm not turning heel. I don't care what you do. And and he literally didn't and left the company. And now, would you guys agree that he's the hottest act in WWE? And not only is he the hottest act in WWE, other talents are benefiting from his momentum. Other matches are elevated. This pay-per-view would not have been as exciting to me if it was Roman on top with somebody else. I was ready to see Cody. Everybody's benefiting from this.
Oh, Lee's on. He wants to talk about the boys.
Yeah, boys is coming up next, man. We're going to talk about boys. We've got a special in-studio guest that we're going to be talking about that. But Nick, I want to give you the last word. What time is it there in Denmark? We had 2. Did we hit the 2 a.m. mark?
It's going nearly to 2 o'clock.
All right, the 2 a.m. So I think you've earned the last word. So what would be, if you had to give the elevator pitch on Hell in the Cell, what would it be?
I could actually say it in 2 words. Cody Rhodes.
Cody freaking Rhodes. We'll add a third word in there.
It was that easy. But actually, thank you guys for this chat. Hopefully, I can get myself invited to another one.
Yeah, no, you're in. You're officially Dos Incredibles International. We got that Denmark presence. So yeah, if you want to get a custom mask, and send us some links our way, because we know we would like to think that we're making our presence known in the Denmark independent wrestling scene as well. I feel like thank you for that nod there. So if we're more than welcome. If you ever want to talk about any angles or anything that you guys are doing, just hit us up and we'll have you back on the show again.
But actually, for me, it will be great that we could do some kind of cooperation. I will gladly be a part of Dos Incredibles international branch.
Wait, are you telling me one more match? One more match?
Yeah,
I always feel like I got one more match. I feel like you got one more match. I always
got one more match.
There's always
you guys.
one. Yes, the last match. One more match is always the next match.
You need to do your gimmick. Go out there and wrestle a computer.
Yeah, that's just slam servers. Slam servers, daddy. All right, Nick. Well, thank you so much for joining us for our Hell in the Cell review. I'm going to give this pay-per-view a thumbs up just because of that Cody match and that opening match, the triple threat with the ladies. So that those 2 matches made this live event feel like a premium live event.